Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the English Daily Book Summary YouTube channel. In order to not stop learning, listen to an English book summary every day for free.
Marcus Sheridan, Endless Customers. Build trust, drive sales, and become the market leader. Have you ever felt like you were doing everything right, creating content, trying new marketing tactics, and still getting nowhere? That was exactly where Steve Sheinkopf found himself. His family's business, Yale Appliance, had survived nearly a century, but when e-commerce boomed and big box stores squeezed the market, survival alone wasn't enough. Despite Sheinkopf's best efforts, his online traction was flat, and the future looked bleak. Then came a turning point. After a candid conversation about the real reason buyers weren't engaging, Sheinkopf realized he needed to stop talking about what he wanted and start providing what customers needed to know, even if that meant breaking industry norms. What followed was a bold, relentless commitment to transparency, answering every tough question buyers had, publishing what competitors were too scared to say, and transforming his company from a local retailer into a trusted national brand. Sheinkopf's story proves a powerful truth. When you earn trust, you don't just survive, you thrive. In this blink, you'll learn the system behind success stories like Sheinkopf's. You'll discover why trust, not traffic, drives real growth, and how saying, showing, selling, and connecting in ways your competitors won't can turn your business into a market leader. Ready to find out what it takes to become the brand your buyers can't ignore? Then let's start. Trust, not traffic, drives growth. Have you ever wondered why people who clearly need what you offer still hesitate to buy? You've put in the effort, your product's great, you deliver results. But buyers hesitate, drag their feet, or go with a competitor before even talking to you. Maybe traffic's slowing. Maybe leads aren't converting. Maybe your pipeline is packed with maybes. The truth is, buying behavior has shifted. People are skeptical, wary of hype, and often make up their minds long before they ever reach out. They've been disappointed before, and they're not eager to repeat the mistake. That's why traditional lead generation tactics are falling short. Attention alone no longer drives growth. Buyers are looking for signs they can trust you. This is where most businesses slip up. Instead of addressing buyers' real concerns, they avoid them. They play it safe, gloss over key questions, or make it hard to get straight answers. The author, Marcus Sheridan, calls this ostrich marketing, hiding from the things customers actually care about. To stand out now, you need a different mindset, one built around trust. That starts with 4 key shifts. First, say what others won't. Address the hard questions buyers are already Googling. Second, show what others hide. Give people a clear view of your process, pricing, and performance. Third, sell in a way that puts the buyer first, with speed, clarity, and zero friction. And fourth, let your team's personality come through. People don't trust faceless brands, they trust people. Those 4 pillars form the core of Endless Customers. But to bring them to life, you'll need the right support behind them. That's where the 5 components of the system come in. These are the systems that shape how you create content, build a website that works for your buyers, run your sales process, use technology to reduce friction, and develop a performance-driven culture that keeps the customer front and center. And here's what raises the stakes. Platforms like Google are giving users instant answers directly in search results. That means fewer visits to your site and fewer chances to earn attention. The brands that thrive are the ones buyers already recognize and trust when they're ready to act. Before we talk more about Endless Customers, let's look at the 4 pillars in more detail. Say and show what others won't. In 2009, a swimming pool company on the brink of collapse published a blog post answering the one question buyers always asked: what does a fiberglass pool cost? They didn't give a fixed figure, they couldn't. But they explained what affects price, what buyers should expect, and why different options cost more or less. That one article did more than shift perceptions. It built trust, brought in qualified leads, and ended up driving over $35 million in revenue. That's the power of the first pillar. Say what others aren't willing to say. Most companies avoid tough buyer questions, like cost, flaws, or comparisons, especially online. But those are exactly the topics buyers are already exploring. Endless Customers identifies 5 key types of questions as the most significant: price and value, potential problems, comparisons, reviews, and best-in-class options. These are the big 5, the topics buyers obsess over before making a serious decision. The mistake most businesses make is creating content for casual browsers, not real buyers. If you want results, aim your content at people who are ready to purchase. This is where AI comes in. Feed it transcripts, FAQs, and past content, and it'll quickly bring up the kinds of questions your buyers are asking. Use it to brainstorm ideas, but start where it matters most, your primary product or service. And begin with cost. Nothing builds trust faster than addressing it early and honestly. Once you've started saying more, the next step is to show more. That's the second pillar. Show what others aren't willing to show. Buyers want proof. They want to see how something works, who they're working with, and what others have experienced. Video does all of that in a way text can't. This is where the Selling 7 comes in, a set of 7 video types designed to shorten sales cycles and build trust. They cover price explanations, FAQs, product fit, landing pages, customer stories, team bios, and evidence of your claims. Together, they answer the big questions buyers have before they ever talk to sales. But to make video work, you need to think like a media company. YouTube shouldn't be an afterthought. It's your second website. It's where buyers go to research and where Google sends them for answers. And with AI now helping to write scripts, edit footage, and turn long videos into short clips, the excuses for not using video fall away. If you want trust, you need transparency, and transparency means showing what others won't. Sell and connect in ways others don't. When a room full of boat manufacturing CEOs was told they'd one day need to let customers build and price boats directly on their websites, they laughed. One even said, "Well, you're not my buyer anyway." Turns out he was. And when just one company, Sportsman Boats, took the idea seriously, everything changed. It added a build and price tool, gave customers control, and quickly pulled ahead. The rest of the industry had to catch up. This story captures the third of the 4 pillars. Sell how others aren't willing to sell. Buyers want to feel in control of their decisions. That's why self-service tools matter so much. These include pricing calculators, product configurators, and self-assessments. Instead of forcing people to talk to a salesperson before they're ready, these tools help them learn, compare, and make progress on their own. That freedom builds trust and moves them closer to buying. But transparency isn't enough without preparation. Instead of relying on cold calls or rushed meetings, ask prospects to review key content, like videos or guides, before speaking with sales. Why? Because when someone comes in with a basic understanding, you can skip the small talk and actually help them make a decision. One pool company found that if a lead read 30 pages of content before the first call, they closed 4 times more often than the average. To make this work, your team needs a structured sales process. Start by understanding what people care about at each stage, whether they're just getting started or already comparing options. Then create clear steps that guide both buyers and sellers, like identifying needs, offering solutions, and closing the deal. Keep the structure simple, document it, and make sure everyone is trained to use it consistently. This way your messaging stays sharp and your prospects get what they need at every stage. From there, the 4th pillar comes into focus. Be more human than others are willing to be. In an age full of automation, people pay attention when they feel like they're dealing with a real person. Buyers want faces, voices, and stories they can connect with. One furniture salesperson became a recognizable presence just by showing up in videos. Customers even came into the store asking to meet her. Visibility builds familiarity, and familiarity builds trust. You don't need celebrity status, just a willingness to be seen. That might mean recording short intro clips, writing in your own voice, or responding with one-to-one video. A simple framework for getting your message right is the StoryBrand method. Define what your customer wants, what's in their way, and how you'll help them succeed. But the deeper point is this: connection happens when you stop hiding. Buyers want honesty, presence, and clarity. Give them that, and they'll remember you. Making disruption your default. Success is a trap most businesses never see coming. It happens slowly, results improve, teams grow, and confidence quietly shifts into pride. Once pride sets in, companies stop questioning. They rely on what used to work, even when buyer behavior keeps changing. That's how industry giants like Blockbuster, Kodak, and BlackBerry lost their lead. Not from a lack of resources, but because they mistook past wins for future certainty. The Endless Customers system was created to keep that from happening. It turns disruption from a desperate move into an everyday habit. After all, the 4 pillars: saying what others won't, showing what others hide, selling in ways that empower buyers, and being more human, aren't one-time tactics. They're a mindset. And to turn mindset into action, you need a system built to support it, not just at launch, but every day after. That's where the 5 components of Endless Customers come in. Don't think of these as extras or nice-to-haves, but rather as what make the 4 pillars sustainable long after the excitement fades. The first component is having the right content. This means giving clear, unvarnished answers to the questions buyers actually care about, especially around price, problems, comparisons, reviews, and top choices. Then comes the right website. And that means, rather than having what amounts to just a digital brochure, you need a self-service hub that educates and reassures buyers on their terms. The third component is putting in place the right sales activities. These should align every conversation around teaching, not pitching, with structured processes that remove friction instead of adding it. Fourth, you need the right technology. It should put speed and personalization at the center of your buyer experience, using CRM systems, AI tools, and clean data to connect better and faster. And finally, the right culture of performance means building a team that expects transparency, measures what matters, and views trust as the most important metric. Without these components working together, disruption will fade, your team will fall back into easy habits. Complacency creeps in. Remember that Endless Customers is a living, breathing system that you live day to day, not just a one-off campaign. It turns trust from a lucky side effect into a predictable result, and disruption from a crisis response into a normal way of operating. The businesses that last are the ones that keep asking harder questions, staying closer to their buyers, and rebuilding trust every day. Because they know markets don't reward those who used to be great. They reward those who earn it now. Trust is built, not bought. Once you start applying the 4 pillars with the right systems behind them, trust will become something you create every day, not something you hope happens. Endless Customers isn't built for quick wins. It's designed for steady, deliberate growth that transforms how buyers see you. Companies that fully commit to the system follow a fairly predictable pattern that progresses more or less as follows. In the first 3 months, you put a content manager in place, sharpen your messaging, and launch your learning center, a dedicated section of your website that organizes your best educational content for buyers to explore on their own. Publishing your first articles and videos covering the Big 5, price and value, potential problems, comparisons, reviews, and best-in-class options, will build momentum. After 6 months, you'll be producing consistent video, introducing self-service tools like pricing calculators, and starting to see leads who show up more informed and ready to act. In 12 months, sales and marketing will be operating with a shared playbook. Deals will be closing faster, and buyers will feel more confident earlier in the process. By 18 months, you'll be refining every touchpoint based on real-world feedback, not assumptions. And by 24 months, your brand will be the trusted standard against which buyers compare everything else. Progress like this happens because the companies that succeed don't leave trust to chance. They hold what Sheridan calls alignment days, focused workshops in which leadership and customer-facing teams recommit to the principles of Endless Customers. These become a regular part of their calendar. They also use quarterly planning sessions to identify gaps, sharpen their priorities, and keep asking the hard questions that complacent businesses ignore. The Endless Customers system makes disruption a daily habit and trust a permanent advantage. But it only works if you keep choosing it. In a market where attention is fleeting and promises are everywhere, the companies that will thrive will be the ones that act with radical clarity, showing, teaching, and proving why they deserve a buyer's belief. When you're earning trust at every step, you don't just win more customers, you build something that lasts. In this Blink to Endless Customers by Marcus Sheridan, you've learned that trust, not traffic, is the real driver of business growth today. Buyers aren't looking for more sales pitches. They're searching for clear, honest answers to their biggest questions. Businesses that commit to radical transparency by saying what others won't and showing what others hide build credibility long before a sales conversation ever starts. Empowering buyers with self-service tools gives them control and builds confidence, while a structured sales process focused on teaching, not pitching, removes friction and speeds decisions. In a marketplace full of automation and noise, businesses that show real faces, real stories, and real expertise create the strongest connections. Your success won't come from short-term tactics, but from building a system that makes trust a daily habit. Through honest content, helpful websites, buyer-first sales activities, responsive technology, and a culture that values transparency above all. Remember, the brands that thrive aren't just seen, they're believed in. Okay, that's it for this Blink. We hope you enjoyed it. If you can, please take the time to leave us a rating. We always appreciate your feedback. See you in the next Blink.